The battlefield silence the war had ended. But the silence that followed was heavier than the battle itself. The ground was black with ash. Broken weapons lay scattered, and the air smelled of smoke and blood. Bodies of soldiers, both human and alien, war spread across the ruined valley. The night sky above was torn with faint red lights of burning ships still falling from orbit. In the middle of this destruction, a human soldier stirred. His armor was cracked, his helmet missing, and his face was pale with exhaustion. He forced his eyes open, blinking against the faint glow of fire. For a moment, he thought he was dead. But the cold pain in his chest reminded him he was still alive. He slowly pushed himself up, groaning as broken metals scraped against his skin. Around him lay silence, a silence so deep it almost roared in his ears. The battlefield, once filled with the screams of war, was now nothing but an empty grave. He remembered the last moment, charging forward, hearing the blast of alien cannons, seeing his brothers fall one by one. He remembered fire, and then darkness. Yet somehow, against all odds, he had survived. His breath came heavy, every muscle trembling. He looked around, searching for other humans, but there were none. Only the corpses of his enemies and his fallen comrades. He was alone. The soldier staggered to his feet. His boots sank into the soft ash of the battlefield. Every step echoed in his head, reminding him of the silence. It felt wrong, as if the war itself was holding its breath. And then he heard it, the sound of footsteps. Not human, heavy and deliberate. He turned sharply, his hand reaching for a weapon, but his rifle was broken. Snapped in half beside him, his heart pounded, his eyes fixed on the figures emerging from the smoke. Alien guards, tall and armored, their faces hidden behind cruel masks, their weapons gleamed under the faint light as they marched toward him. Their glowing eyes watched him carefully, not with anger, but with something colder curiosity. The soldier braced himself, expecting death. He stood tall, even as blood dripped down his side. If they were here to finish him, he would not beg, he would not kneel. But the aliens did not raise their weapons. Instead, one of them spoke in a deep voice that echoed through the silence. The survivor, another guard, stepped closer. Looking down at him, the commander ordered him alive. He is to be taken to the chamber. The soldier frowned, confusion cutting through his fear. Why alive? He was an enemy soldier, a survivor of battle. Why keep him breathing? They surrounded him, their armor clinked with each movement. Their glowing eyes never left him. Rough hands grabbed his arms, pulling him forward. He resisted at first, his pride demanding defiance. But his body was too weak, his wounds too deep, dragged. Across the broken battlefield, he watched as the fires of war slowly faded behind him. The silence still pressed against his ears, heavy and suffocating. But in his heart, questions burned. Why him? Why alive? What awaited him in this chamber? The guards led him through the ruins of the alien stronghold. Its walls were black stone, decorated with symbols that glowed faintly blue. The air was cold, unnaturally so. As they walked deeper, he noticed piles of treasures, gold, weapons, strange crystals from worlds he had never seen, loot taken from countless conquests. And then, finally, they stopped. Massive doors stood before him, carved with the alien emperor's crest. The guards pushed them open, revealing a chamber filled with riches. Piles of wealth stacked to the ceiling, but at the center of the room, sitting in silence, was not treasure. It was a figure, chained, her hands bound in glowing cuffs, her skin faintly silver under the torchlight, her hair flowing like strands of starlight. She lifted her head slowly, her eyes locking with his for a moment. The human soldier forgot his wounds, forgot his exhaustion. She was not human. She was alien, yeah, unlike any enemy he had seen. Her beauty was striking, her presence haunting. One of the guards shoved him forward, his voice echoing with cruel amusement. The human's reward, not gold, not jewels, something better, his prize for survival. The soldier froze, his jaw tight, his reward. He looked at the chained alien woman, her eyes burning with something between anger and sorrow. He realized then what they meant. This was no treasure. This was a slave. He turned sharply to the guards, his voice rough but strong. I don't want this. I didn't fight for this. The guards laughed, their harsh voices bouncing against the walls. You don't choose, human. You won. You survived. And this is your gift. You will take her, or you will die here. The soldier's chest tightened. His hand shook, not from fear, but from fury. He looked back at the alien woman. Her eyes said nothing, yet everything they pleaded and warned at the same time. The silence of the battlefield had followed him here, but now, within that silence, a storm was rising. The human soldier realized one truth. The real battle had not ended. It was only beginning. The unexpected gift. The chamber was cold, its walls echoing with a faint hum of alien energy. Strange crystals burned in iron braziers, filling the air with a dull blue glow. Shadows stretched across piles of gold, weapons, and jewels. Yet among all the treasures, the chained figure at the center drew every eye. The human soldier stood frozen. His chest rose and fell heavily, blood seeping from wounds hidden under his torn armor. The alien guards around him smirked through their metal masks. Their leader's voice carried a cruel amusement. Behold, human, your reward. He looked again at the woman. Her wrists were bound in glowing cuffs that pulsed with light. Chains connected her to a heavy stone pillar. Her eyes, silver and sharp like blades of ice, studied him without fear. She did not cower. She did not beg. She only looked at him. As though measuring something deep inside him, the soldier clenched his fists, his voice rough. I didn't fight for this. The guards laughed, the sound harsh and mocking. You humans are strange. Most would beg for gold, for power, for flesh, yet you refuse. Foolish pride. The soldier turned his glare on them. Pride is better than slavery. The laughter faded into a low growl. One of the guards stepped closer, pressing the edge of his spear against the soldier's chest. Careful, human. The commander gave you life when you should have been ash. We gave you a gift when you should have been forgotten. Refuse again, and you will have neither. The soldier did not flinch. His eyes returned to the alien woman. Her expression remained unreadable, but her lips parted just slightly, and in a voice softer than the hum of the crystals. She spoke, "He doesn't want me." The guards glanced at each other, then roared with laughter. Even the slave knows it. How insulting, human. Too weak for gold, too weak for flesh. What good are you? But the soldier heard something different in her tone. Not defeat, not sadness, something closer to relief. As if she had expected cruelty, and instead found a refusal. He stepped closer to her, ignoring the guard's weapon still pressing at his chest. Who are you? He asked quietly. His voice lacked command. It was not a question of ownership, but of recognition. Her silver eyes narrowed. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, with a whisper only he could hear, she answered, "A prisoner, like you." Soldier's heart tightened. He opened his mouth to speak, but the guards shoved him back roughly. Enough, human. She is yours. Take her, or we will end this game now. The soldier caught himself, his body shaking, but his spirit unbroken. He looked at the guards with steady eyes. If this is your game, then you've already lost. The leader's smile twisted beneath his mask. Very well, human. You may not understand now, but you will in time. Everyone bends. The guards turned and marched out, the heavy doors slamming shut behind them. Their footsteps echoed down the corridor until only silence remained. The soldier let out a slow breath. His gaze turned back to the alien woman. She was still watching him. But now her eyes held a faint spark, not warmth, not trust, but something he couldn't name. He limped forward, kneeling beside her chains. The glowing cuffs hummed as he touched them. The light burned his fingers, forcing him to pull back. He grimaced. "What have they done to you?" Her voice was calm, almost cold. "What they always do. They take, they bind. They make trophies of lives they destroyed. And when they tire of them, they discard them like ash." The soldier lowered his head, shame heavy in his chest. Not shame for himself, but for standing among monsters who believed such cruelty was power. "I'm not like them," he said quietly. Her eyes studied him carefully. "That's what they all say." He met her gaze firmly. "Then watch me. You'll see." The truth, for the first time, her lips curved into the faintest smile, bitter, sharp but real. "You are bold, human." Boldness is dangerous here. The soldier leaned back, exhaustion pulling at his body. He sat against the cold stone floor, the sound of his breath the only noise in the vast chamber. The alien woman tilted her head, her silver hair catching the blue glow of the crystals. Her voice softer now. "Why didn't you accept me?" His answer was simple, but his tone cut like steel. "Because you're not a prize." Her eyes widened slightly, not in disbelief, but in surprise. She had expected chains, commands, cruelty, but not that. The silence stretched between them, thick with tension. Finally, she whispered, "Then you are a fool. But maybe the kind of fool the galaxy needs." The soldier almost smiled, but his body sagged, his wounds weighing heavy. His eyes closed for just a moment. But before sleep claimed him, he whispered, "We'll both get out of this, one way or another." The alien woman looked at him in silence, for the first time in years of chains. Something stirred in her chest, not trust, not yet, but hope, fragile and dangerous, outside the chamber. The sound of alien guards echoed faintly. The game had only begun. The human soldier had survived the battlefield, but now he stood at the cased edge of something far greater. And though he had not asked for this reward, he realized one truth. It was not treasure, not gold, not even chains. It was a choice. And choices had the power to change everything. The silent defiance chamber remained heavy with silence. Only the faint hum of the glowing cuffs echoed in the air. The human soldier sat against the cold wall, his eyes half closed, breathing hard. His body begged for rest, but his spirit refused to bend. Across from him, the chained alien woman studied him quietly, her silver eyes never blinking. She had seen many humans before, captives, prisoners of war, slaves traded for coin. They had all broken, eventually. Some quickly, some slowly, but all of them, and yet this one felt different. He refused her, not with disgust, not with cruelty, but with something she did not recognize: principle. The doors groaned open again. Alien guards marched in with slow, heavy steps. Their leader entered last, taller than the rest, his armor black and trimmed with gold. His mask shone like polished stone. His voice was cold and sharp. "Human, you insult us. You refuse our gift. You spit on our generosity. Do you think you are stronger than us? Better than us?" The soldier pushed himself to his feet. His body shook from pain. But he stood tall. His voice was calm, even under their glare. "I think I am not like you." A hiss spread through the guards. One stepped forward, raising his spear. "You dare mock us?" But the commander raised a hand, silencing him, his glowing eyes fixed on the human. "Not like us, you say? Then what are you, human? Weak flesh wrapped in broken armor. A survivor who should not have survived. Tell me, what makes you different?" The soldier's lips pressed tight. Then he spoke clearly, his words echoing against the stone walls. "I don't break others to prove my strength. I stand because it is right, not because it is easy. That's the difference. The chamber grew still. The guards muttered in anger. Their weapons shifted, itching for blood. But the commander only laughed, the sound cold and cruel. Such bold words from fragile bones. Perhaps we will test how long your pride lasts. Perhaps we will see if your spirit bends when your body is crushed. The soldier stared back. Do what you want, but I won't kneel. The alien woman's eyes flickered with surprise. She had heard defiance before, but not like this. His words carried no desperation, only certainty. The commander turned to her suddenly. And you do. See your new master? This human does not even want you. You were given as a reward, but he throws you aside. Does it not shame you? Her chains rattled as she lifted her chin, her voice calm but sharp. I have known shame all my life. His refusal is not shame. It is something else. The guards hissed in anger. But the human felt her words strike deeper than he expected. She did not defend him, not exactly. But she had spoken against her captors for the first time. The commander's glowing eyes narrowed. His voice heavy with threat. You will both learn, human and slave alike. No one resists us forever. All chains tighten eventually. He turned sharply, signaling his guards. Leave them. For now, let the human silence choke him. Let the slave's chains remind her what she is. The doors slammed shut again, leaving only the two prisoners. The human let out a slow breath. His hands trembled as he sat back down. The alien woman tilted her head, her silver eyes still fixed on him. After a moment, she asked quietly, Why didn't you speak for me? The soldier frowned. Because you don't need someone to speak for you. You already did. Her lips parted slightly in surprise. She was not used to being treated as anything but a possession. His words unsettled her. You risked angering them, she whispered. Most would have bent. Most would have begged. He met her gaze. Steady despite his exhaustion, bending is not living. Begging is not freedom. She fell silent. Her thoughts twisted with questions she had never allowed herself to ask. Was it possible for someone to live without chains? To breathe without fear? Hours passed in the dim glow of the chamber. The human drifted between pain and restless awareness. The alien woman remained watchful, her chains heavy, her mind sharper than her captors believed. Finally, she broke the silence again, her voice soft but steady. Do you know what they will do next? The soldier's eyes opened. They'll test me. They can't stand defiance. They'll try to break me. Not with weapons, but with spectacle. She nodded slowly. The arena, his jaw tightened. Arena? Her eyes lowered. Where they make examples, where they turn survival into entertainment. They will throw you before beasts or blades. And if you fall, they will laugh. If you live, they will try again, until you finally break. The soldiers. Fists clench. Then I won't fall. She studied him quietly. You think courage will be enough? The beasts they unleash are not like soldiers. They are bred for killing. He leaned forward, his gaze sharp, and I was born to survive. Her lips curved faintly, almost a smile, bitter but real. You are stubborn, human, maybe. He admitted, but stubbornness keeps me alive. She tilted her head, and if you die. His answer came without hesitation. Then I die standing, not kneeling. The words echoed in her mind long after he fell silent. Something inside her shifted, small but undeniable. She had seen thousands kneel, thousands break, but never this. The silence stretched again, heavy but not empty. It was a silence filled with something dangerous hope. The alien woman lowered her eyes, whispering to herself more than to him. Perhaps you are the fool the galaxy needs. The human did not. Here, his eyes had closed again, his body resting as much as it could. But the spark of defiance in him had already begun to spread. And though the chains still bound them, and the walls still surrounded them, A new truth had entered the chamber. The human silence was not weakness, it was defiance, and defiance was a fire, one that even the strongest empire could not forever contain. The chains and the truth the chamber was darker than before, the torches burning low. Shadows crawled across the walls, and the silence grew heavier. The human soldier sat with his back against the stone pillar, his eyes fixed on the glowing cuffs that chained the alien woman. She sat quietly, her posture calm yet unbroken. Her silver eyes reflected the faint light like liquid metal. She did not tremble, she did not weep. She only watched. As though waiting for something, the soldier finally broke the silence. "You knew about the arena?" She nodded slowly, her chains clinking with a small motion. "Everyone knows. That is where they test pride. That is where they feed hope to the crowd only to break it in blood." His jaw tightened. "They want me to kneel in front of thousands." Her voice was steady. "They don't want you to kneel. They want you to shatter, to prove to others that even courage has no meaning." The soldier leaned forward, his hands resting on his knees, his tone hard. "Then I won't give them that." Her eyes studied him carefully. There was no mockery in her gaze, only a strange curiosity. "You sound certain." Human, but certainty is fragile. Beasts do not care for words. Steel does not bend because of courage. He smirked faintly despite his pain. "Then I'll bend steel instead." For a moment, her lips curved faintly, a smile of joy, but of something else, something almost like respect. The silence returned, heavier now. The soldier's eyes drifted to the chains again, glowing with strange energy. His voice softened. "Who are you? Really?" Her gaze shifted away. Her fingers brushed the cuffs, the light burning faintly against her skin. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me," he said firmly. She was quiet for a long time. The shadows on her face made her look both fragile and unbreakable. Finally, she whispered, "I was not always a slave." The soldier's brow furrowed. He leaned closer, listening. She continued, her voice low and sharp like a blade hidden in silk. "Once I was heir to a throne. My people ruled a world of light. We were not warriors, not conquerors, but builders. Creators. We had cities that touched the skies, rivers that sang with power. But the empire came. They broke our walls, burned our temples, and chained our blood. I was taken. They called it conquest. I call it theft." Her silver eyes lifted to meet his. "So here I am, a jewel in their collection. A symbol of their triumph, a chained memory of what they destroyed." The soldier's chest tightened. He had seen war, but he had never seen this, a life stolen not just from one, but from an entire people. He spoke quietly. "And yet you don't bow. I see it in your eyes. You're still standing inside, even in chains." Her lips parted slightly, surprise flickering across her face. For years, she had hidden her fire, buried it deep so they would not crush it. Yet somehow this human, broken and wounded, had seen it in an instant. She whispered, almost to herself, "You see too much?" He leaned back, his eyes still on her. "Maybe, but I see truth. And truth is stronger than fear." She studied him, her mind a storm of thoughts. He was not like others she had known. He did not see her as a prize. He did not see her chains as her identity. He saw something else. Something she had almost forgotten her worth. Finally, she asked, her voice sharp but uncertain. "Why do you care? You gain nothing from this. You are alone. You are broken. Why waste your strength on me?" The soldier's answer was simple, but his tone made it feel like iron. "Because if I stopped caring, then I'd become like them, and I'd rather die than be like them." The words sank deep into her chest. She lowered her eyes, hiding the flicker of emotion that threatened to escape for the first time in years. Her chains felt heavier not because of despair, but because she remembered what freedom once felt like, The silence grew again. But it was different now. It was no longer empty. It was filled with unspoken truths. The soldier leaned his head back against the wall, his eyes drifting closed. "What's your name?" She hesitated, as if the word itself had been stolen from her long ago. Then she whispered, "Liara." The human repeated it softly, "Liara," as if committing it to memory. Her silver eyes softened for the first time. The sound of her name in his voice reminded her of a life that once was. Suddenly, the doors burst open again. The guards stormed in, their voices sharp, time, human. The commander grows impatient. They dragged him to his feet, his body resisted. Not out of strength, but out of refusal to kneel. His eyes caught Liara's as they pulled him away. She did not speak, but her gaze burned with something new. A silent promise. As the doors slammed shut, Liara whispered to the empty chamber, "Do not fall, human, for if you stand, perhaps I will too." The soldier's choice, the iron gates of the arena groaned as they opened. The human soldier was dragged into blinding light. His boots scraped against the sand as alien guards pushed him forward. The roar of thousands of voices filled the air. A storm of cheers and jeers. The arena was massive, carved from black stone. Its walls were etched with glowing symbols of conquest, and rows upon rows of alien spectators crowded the stands. Their eyes shone with hunger, not for food, but for blood. The commander stood above on a raised platform, his black and gold armor gleaming. His voice echoed across the arena, carried by strange amplifiers. "Behold the human who defied us, the one who spat on our gifts. Today you will see what becomes of pride." The crowd erupted in cruel laughter. Their chants of mockery rolled like thunder. "Break him, tear him, kill him." The soldier lifted his head, his body ached, his wounds burned, but his eyes were steady. He scanned the crowd, his jaw set firm. He would not give them what they wanted. The commander raised his hand, and the arena gates opposite the soldier creaked open. From the darkness emerged a beast unlike anything he had seen. Its body was massive, covered in dark scales, its claws like swords, glowing eyes burning with savage hunger. It let out a roar that shook the very walls. The crowd cheered louder. The commander's voice boomed, "Kneel, human, and perhaps we will grant you mercy. Stand, and you will be devoured." The soldier's heart pounded. His body screamed for rest, but his spirit refused. He stepped forward, planting his feet firmly in the sand. His voice rose above the chaos, clear and defiant. "I will not kneel." The arena froze for a heartbeat. The crowd gasped, then erupted into noise louder than ever. Some cheered for his bravery. Most demanded his death. The commander's eyes narrowed, anger flashing beneath his mask. The beast charged, sand exploding beneath its weight. The soldier rolled aside, the claws missing him by inches. His body burned with pain. But his instincts kept him alive. He grabbed a broken spear lying in the dirt. His only weapon against the monster. The beast turned, its glowing eyes locking on him. Another roar shook the ground as it lunged again. The soldier braced himself. Thrusting the spear forward, the weapon cracked against its hide, barely scratching the thick scales. The crowd roared in laughter and mockery. Weak, pathetic, and him. But in the shadows of the platform, Liara watched, her silver eyes fixed on him, her chains still bound, yet her will reaching out. She whispered under her breath, words from her lost people, words of strength. Her fingers traced a pattern across the glowing cuffs. Sparks of energy flickered faintly. Unseen by the guards around her, the beast struck again. Knocking the spear from his hands, the soldier rolled across the sand, his chest burning, blood seeping into the dirt. For a moment, the world spun, his vision blurred, the crowd jeered. The commander raised his hand to end it, but then the beast stopped. Its glowing eyes flickered strangely. Its massive head shook as if in confusion. The soldier blinked, forcing himself to stand. He saw it hesitate. Only for a breath, but enough. Lyra's whisper grew louder. Her chains glowed faintly as she poured every fragment of her energy into the hidden link between her cuffs and the beast's control. Her heart pounded, sweat lined her brow. But she held on. The soldier seized the moment. He lunged for the broken spear, snapping the shaft to create a jagged edge. The beast roared again, lunging toward him. Claws slashing the air. This time, he did not dodge. He stood his ground. Waiting until the last second, then he drove the spear upward, jamming it. Between the beast's scales at its neck, the jagged wood sank deep. The beast screamed, thrashing violently. Sand and blood sprayed across the arena. The crowd fell silent, then erupted into chaos. Some cheered wildly, others shrieked in fury. The commander's fist clenched, his eyes burning with rage. The soldier stood in the center of the arena, his chest heaving, his body trembling, but his spirit blazing. He yanked the broken spear free, blood dripping from the weapon. His voice carried across the silence that followed. "I told you, we will not kneel." The crowd roared again, this time divided. Some still cried for his death, but others began chanting, hesitant at first, then louder, "Human! Human!" The commander's face darkened, his voice thundered. "This is not victory. This is defiance. And defiance is death." Guards began to pour into the arena, weapons raised. The soldier tightened his grip on the spear, ready to face them, but above, Lyra's silver eyes burned brighter. Her whisper reached him, even from the distance. "Do not fall, human, not here, not now." The soldier lifted his chin. His bloodied face turned toward the commander. His voice rang out like steel. "You think chains make you strong, but you are wrong. Chains make you weak. They blind you to the truth. Strength is not in breaking others, it's in standing free." The crowd erupted again, louder than before. The chant spread, "Human, human, human." The commander's fury shook the walls. His booming voice silenced the crowd for only a moment. "Enough. This human will break, if not today, then tomorrow." No one defies the empire and lives. But as the guards dragged the soldier back through the gates, the echo of the crowd followed him for the first time. Their voices were not just for blood, they were for hope, and in the shadows of her chains, Liara allowed herself a single, dangerous thought. Perhaps the empire was wrong, perhaps courage could spread. Perhaps this human's choice to stand might be the spark to light a fire no chains could hold. Fire in the arena, the night sky burned red above the alien city. Flames from torches lit the streets, carrying the voices of thousands who had witnessed the human's defiance. Whispers spread like wildfire about the soldier who stood tall, about the beast he killed, about the words he shouted that refused to die. The commander stood in his dark chamber, his fists tight with rage. The crowd chants his name. He hissed, "The human is no longer a prisoner, he is a spark." And sparks become flames. His eyes narrowed behind the mask. "We will crush him. We will break him in front of all. We will make him kneel." In the lower cells, the human soldier sat chained again. His body battered, but his spirit unbroken. The arena's sand still clung to his wounds. But his eyes burned brighter than ever. And across the stone hall, Liara sat with her hands bound, watching him through the bars. The guards had thrown her back into a separate cell after the fight. They feared her silence more than her voice. They feared the way her silver eyes had followed the human through every moment. The soldier lifted his head, his voice hoarse. "They're planning something worse." Liara nodded slowly. "The empire never forgives defiance. They will not kill you quickly. They will try to unmake you, piece by piece, and if you resist, they will use me." His chest tightened. "No," he said firmly. "They won't touch you." Her lips curved in a bitter smile. "You don't command them, human. They hold the chains. They control the beasts. They decide who lives and who dies." But his eyes met hers with steady fire. "No, Liara. They only think they do." She looked at him for a long moment. Her heart stirred with something she had buried long ago. Hope was a dangerous thing. It could destroy as easily as it could save. Yet with him, she could not kill it. The next day, the guards came, dragging the human back to the arena. This time, the crowd was even larger. The seats overflowed with aliens who wanted to see the defiant soldier crushed. The commander raised his hands, his voice booming. "The human killed one beast, but one beast is not enough. Today, he will face fire. Today, he will learn fear." The arena gates opened, and from the shadows stepped not one, but two massive creatures. Their bodies were twisted, half metal and half flesh. Glowing veins of fire running through their skin, they roared, shaking the ground as flames dripped from their jaws. The soldier tightened his fists. His weapon this time was only a short blade. Thrown at his feet, the crowd roared in laughter, already seeing him as dead. Above, Liara stood on the platform, still chained. Her eyes locked on him, her voice whispered, unheard by all but him. "Stand, human. Do not fall. Not now." The beasts charged, flames spilling across the sand. The soldier rolled, the heat searing his skin. His blade cut deep into one leg, but the creature barely flinched. It swung its burning claw. Throwing him across the arena, he hit the ground, hard blood filling his mouth. The crowd roared with approval. "Burn him. Tear him apart." The commander's laughter echoed. "So this is your courage, human. This is your pride. It will end in ash." But the soldier struggled to his feet, his voice raw but loud. "No, commander. It is your empire that will end in ash." The crowd gasped. The commander's smile faltered for just a second. The beasts roared again, circling him. One lunged forward, its jaw snapping like molten stone. At the last second, the soldier dropped low. Driving his blade upward into its throat, the creature screamed, fire bursting from its wound as it collapsed in the sand. The second beast attacked, claws swiping like burning steel. The soldier rolled again, but his blade slipped from his hand. He was unarmed, bloodied, cornered. Lyra's chains glowed faintly. Her fingers tightened as she whispered words of power once forbidden to her people. The fire veins of the second beast flickered strangely. Its movement slowed. Its eyes lost focus. The soldier seized the moment. He grabbed the jagged spear shaft. Still lodged in the dead beast's body, he swung it with all his strength, slamming it into the second monster's chest. The weapon pierced through the glowing veins. The beast howled, fire exploding from its body before it collapsed beside its twin. The arena fell silent. The crowd stared in shock. Then, slowly, chants began to rise. "Human, human, human." The commander's fury shook the platform. His fist slammed against the railing. "No, this is not victory. This is rebellion. Guards, kill him now." Dozens of soldiers stormed the arena, weapons raised, but something strange happened. Many in the crowd stood, their voices shouting louder than the commander's. "Let him fight. Let him live." The guards hesitated. Their orders clashed with the roar of thousands. The empire had always ruled through fear, but for the first time, the fear was breaking. The soldier stood tall in the arena, bloodied but unbroken. His voice rang across the silence. "You cannot chain courage. You cannot kill defiance. You cannot break what refuses to bow." The crowd erupted again, louder than ever. Their chant shook the walls. "Human, human." human. The commander's fury burned hotter than fire. His voice cut like steel. Then let the fire consume you both, human and slave alike, if you will not kneel. You will burn together. The guards dragged Liara forward, pulling her chains to the center of the arena. Her silver eyes met the soldiers, her voice calm despite the chaos. Now we stand together. The soldier tightened his grip on the jagged spear, his chest rose and fell as he faced the commander above, his voice steady and defiant. Then let your fire come, Commander, and see who is left standing when the ash clears. The crowd roared again. Not with mockery, but with hope, for the first time. The Empire's arena had become more than a place of death. It had become a spark of rebellion. And in that moment, Liara felt her chains not as shackles, but as weapons. Her heart whispered. A truth she had long forgotten: hope is stronger than fear, and fire cannot burn what refuses to bow.